Peace and love, no autographs, please, peace and love. I said no goddamn autographs, peace and love. Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new EP by Ringo! Zoom in. Whoop, wink. I find it rather unnecessary to talk about the Beatles and how Ringo was related to them globally. Probably the most successful and most recognisable band of all time. He was the drummer. That's all I really need to say. Look elsewhere if you want to know more. The Beatles were the first band I ever got into. I absolutely was obsessed and adored the Beatles. And I was one of those guys who waved the Ringo flag. I used to proudly proclaim that he is my favourite Beatles member. Not so much about his vocals or his songwriting abilities and such like that, but I think what made the Beatles so popular, or at least helped it, was all of the great personalities that the guys had, and I enjoyed Ringo's the most. I think that's why he was always the star of the show, really, when it came to the Beatles films and such like that. And the few songs he did technically write, I loved, especially Octopus's Garden, which still is one of my favourite songs ever, and is just completely nostalgic and just makes us feel just young again when I hear it. And Ringo, after the Beatles broke up, he was actually really successful. In fact, probably the most successful Beatles member, really, out of the four for a while, having number ones and stuff like the self-titled that he had here, doing pretty well with this album as well, Goodnight Vienna. And after that, it's just weird, really, thinking about it, how after a certain point, a Beatles member, a guy who was associated with the Beatles, barely charted. Briefly mentioning his last full release, 2019's What's My Name? Yeah, he's getting that old that he's even asking in the album titles what his name is. Poor Ringo. Well, get forgetful at one point, eh? And this album featured such lowlights as Gotta Get Up to Get Down, which features this absolutely appalling rapping in it. The most stereotypical "my name is Eddie and I'm here to say" doing this crappy rapping is not okay. But hey ho, at least people enjoyed it. I saw one guy say,
despite the rap touches, this is still rock at its core. I tell you, if all rap music sounded like Gotta Get Up to Get Down, I'd be a rap fan.
So if all rap was like rock, you would like it. So it's not rap. Okay. Anyways, and it featured a cover of the song Money, That's What I Want, and that was the worst song I heard of 2019, and other songs such as that. So we come to this EP. What am I expecting from this, eh? I'm not an avid listener of Ringo. I haven't followed all of his 20 studio albums, but one thing I can say is that this guy's vocals now, it's slathered with reverb, it's got the slight echo on it just to make it sound a bit more touched up, and what especially tries to touch it up is the auto-tune. It's really bad, and I don't know why he puts auto-tune on his voice on here. It isn't characteristic, so it doesn't kind of give it its own style. It's clearly done to masquerade as, shoddy vocals. He was never the best singer to begin with, let's be honest. And at the same time, I think having no autotune on it, being the age he is, it would add character to just have those vocal blemishes out there. Who cares, actually, if he has any vocal blemishes? Again, he's at this age now. I don't think audiences who are avidly listening to Ringo material in this present day are really that bothered about how his voice sounds like. But this EP isn't all too bad. It's overall pretty harmless, I would call it. Every single chorus is first time listen, pretty catchy, and it's pretty safe, pretty repetitive, but It's average. I would definitely call this whole thing safe and not very challenging to the ears. And you know, you don't have to have something totally experimental. I'm not expecting Ringo to do a Scott Walker or maybe do a David Bowie Black Ringo Star. I will say the first track is easily my least favourite on here though. This track, Haze to the Night, is the epitome of modern day Ringo. It is absolutely saccharine. It's just, every time I listen to it, I just go, because it's just so nice and cuddly. Especially the music video. Look at Paul here. Ah, I understand it's obviously trying to bring joy to the world, and especially nowadays we need a bit of it, but it's so forced. The amount of guest singers on here, the amount of times this chorus is repeated, all of the yeah and woo added in the background. It feels like a charity single in a bad way. I mean, half the song is just the chorus, and definitely the cherry on top is that nice little laugh Ringo does at the end. It's just so warm and fuzzy, you know. It's like he's trying to be a Mr. Rogers, only a one that wears sunglasses all the time. And speaking of presentation, can we quickly talk about this EP cover? I mean, come on, Ringo, you could have at least got a comb, mate. The next track, Zoom In and Zoom Out, is quite a bit better, pretty much because it's nowhere near as overblown as the first track. It's a pretty bare bones basic blues track, but it's pretty fun. I can imagine it playing it at a nice little party. The only issue I've got with it is, again, Ringo's vocals. I mean, never mind what I've talked about before, but especially at the start of this song, it's way too buried. What helps bring the voice out, though, is these great female backing vocals, and they definitely carry this track. And actually the third track, Teach Me To Tango, I'd say is the best track on here. I really like the sort of burnt guitars on here, and the drumming from Ringo is really good, and once again fantastic backing female vocals. The thing with this track is it actually kind of sounds like a Rolling Stones song, a bit of a sort of black and blue era Rolling Stones song, and because I actually enjoy that material, I really like this. Fourth track, Waiting for the Tide to Turn, is a pretty simple sort of reggae tune, and what I particularly enjoy in here is once again the guitars, which have this sort of great wah-wah effect. Once again, female backing vocals, brilliant. And I kind of think that Ringo's voice works a lot better on this track than other tracks on this EP, because the auto-tune, maybe accidentally in a way, but it works in his favour, because since it's reggae tinged, it kind of ends up sounding like a sort of dance hall tune. Yeah, Pop Can, watch out. Ringo's coming for you. But the vocals from Ringo do let it down, sadly, and it's not to do with the auto-tune or reverb and echo effects and all that palaver, but it's actually just his performance on here. And I just think because of this song being quite mournful with its lyrical topics, he could have emotionally sold it a bit more on this tune, but instead he just kind of sounds bored. And the final track, Not Enough Love in the World, once again, it's a fine tune. I think this is probably the most earworm catchy chorus. Well, you know, every song on here is probably going to stay in your head because the chorus is kind of repeated a lot. But I think this is, again, a decent tune and not a bad closer. And once again, those backing vocals, those girls are real good on here. Really helps sell the songs on here when Ringo doesn't sell it too well himself. All I will say is that no matter what Ringo releases in the future, it is nice and quite comforting to know that I'm listening to an artist who is a voice that I've just had attachment to for all my life nearly. And I think that's the same way with all of his audience, you know, being able to say a Beatles member is still out there making music is it's just nice, you know. And so this EP, it's okay. I'd give it a 5 out of 10. It's not anything worth writing about really, but at the same time, it's not a bad listen. It's all quite pleasant, and in these times, nearly that's all you're after. So, Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Hope you're taking care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening.